I have no idea what this is gonna be like.
Okay.
Hi everyone, it's your Korean Sam, and I have a very special guest today. I don't
Billy,
think,
yes.
It's Billy. He doesn't need any explaining. I'm pretty sure everyone on my channel knows who Billy is.
Oh, nice. If you don't know who I am, I also run a separate YouTube channel, Learn Korean with Go Billy Korean, where I teach Korean grammar and culture and all of that stuff as well. So you should check me out as well.
Definitely. And he's in Korea for a few months, and then we met a couple times. We did a video for his channel,
Yes.
which will probably be up in like several months.
Yeah,
right?
as soon as I can get back to the US
because
to
he
edit
does
it.
everything in, months in advance,
Yeah.
whereas this one will probably be up by tomorrow.
Tonight I see
tonight or
the
tomorrow.
notification.
Yeah, so today I just invited him over to my place, and we're having lunch together, and it's 부대찌개. Do you want to
Yes.
explain it?
Yeah, so literally 부대 is like a military, like an army kind of, and jjigae would be like a stew. So this would be kind of a stew made from the whatever's left over military food around the Korean War or after the Korean War time. So you get lots of things in it like Spam,
Yes.
Vienna sausages. You get like packaged ramen. You'll get kimchi, onions, green onions.
Yeah.
Every kind of just random thing that you could put in. Oh, and of course, most importantly, sliced American cheese.
Yes, the
And,
cheese.
Yeah, that just makes it like it has a really rich, cheesy, salty flavor with all the ingredients kind of meeting each other. And it's really great if you haven't tried it. It definitely tastes even better than it looks.
Okay, so we're gonna start eating, and if you see an arm coming in from that direction, my husband is also joining us but doesn't want to be on
It's like
camera.
sitting back holding a little rice ball and like eating.
All right, so shall we
Yeah.
start? I will give you first because you're the guest.
Nice. Thank you.
Your wife is Korean?
Yes.
So how much of your food at home is Korean?
That's a good question. I would say at least a third of what we eat is Korean food. It'll depend if what we feel like. So if we feel like, oh, I want to eat this Korean food, we can do that. And a lot of our meals, when we don't have any planning, when we just say, oh, I'm hungry, let's eat something, that will be something usually simple, like Korean, like maybe we'll have, rice with side dishes or something like that.
So do you always keep your fridge stacked with banchan?
Yeah, actually about that. So we have three, let me think. We have a refrigerator or freezer in our kitchen. We also have a garage freezer in the garage because we have, we have to freeze stuff, like you buy meat on sale and you don't want it to go bad. And then we actually got, as a present from our friends who live near our house, is a kimchi refrigerator.
Wow.
So that's what we also store. We have lots of kimchi in there, like, side dishes that my mother-in-law gave us, or just things that you buy in bulk and you don't want to put them in your refrigerator because they smell really bad. Like
yeah.
새우젓, 멸치,
The good
those are
stuff.
마늘. Those are like they smell horrible. So you want to put them in your kimchi refrigerator where they're not going to make your milk smell bad.
Let's eat.
Okay. Nice. The wooden spoon is unique.
Yeah.
I mean, usually Koreans will just only use the, like at home, the metal, like
Yeah,
spoons
this
and metal
one.
chopsticks. But sometimes I don't like them because
Why?
they're heavy.
The metal chopsticks are only in Korea, right?
Right.
And I think they're the most difficult ones to use.
They are harder to use. And one, because they're heavier, but also because they're really smooth. So I actually could use chopsticks very well before I went to Korea my first time because I'm used to eating Chinese food or Japanese food in the US. And then when I went to Korea, I'm like, I suddenly can't pick these up. They're so heavy and they won't pick anything up. So I had to kind of relearn how to use chopsticks.
Especially the flat ones. Like if they're rounder, I feel like they're a lot easier.
People are probably wondering what this tastes like.
Ooh, it's hard to explain. Spicy,
Tiny bit.
a little bit spicy.
It has, a little bit spicy, a little bit salty. And then it'll also depend on what ingredients you put in. This one doesn't have baked beans, but usually they also have baked
The
beans,
baked beans ones are
which are really nice.
Savory.
Yeah.
So what is the thing that you like miss the most when you're not in Korea?
Honestly, just my friends. I only have a very, very small handful of friends in the entire United States. One best friend who I often meet, who doesn't live too far from me, and all the other friends I can think of, the people that I know are all in Korea. So when I'm in Korea, the thing I look forward to most is seeing some of my friends again. And then right after that, I think would be Korean food.
Yeah.
So although I'm in LA, so I have access to Koreatown and lots of Korean communities and everything. There's some things you just can't get in United States that
Like
you
what?
can easily get in Korea. Well, I guess for an example, I want to go sit down and have get some meat, get some side dishes, some soup. Well, in the U.S., I have to go, to a special sit-down restaurant that sells that item. You pay all this money to get this meal, and it's a big deal. You wait 30 minutes to sit down. Whereas in Korea, you just walk in.
Yeah.
You just go in and sit down and start eating, and you get out for like $8. So you just don't go to a lot of the type of food that you would get in Korea because it's 귀찮아. It's frustrating. It's annoying to do it. That's what I want to say. It's annoying. And then of course things like one of my favorite foods is actually Isaac toast.
Oh, which one do you get?
I've gotten everything on the menu, so I'm an Isaac toast fan actually. But my favorite always goes down to just like the VIP or ham cheese special.
The ham cheese, I think the
something like
classic
that.
one is the best.
Yeah. After trying all of them, still it's the classic ones are the best.
If you haven't tried Isaac's toast or Isaac toast too, it's not the toast that you're thinking. For one, the bread is not really toasted.
No, it's like bread.
It's butter, like it's grilled. It's cooked.
I guess grilled.
Grilled
yeah,
on a
like
pan.
Quickly grilled kind of.
Yeah, on butter, and they have this like magical green sauce.
Yeah, kiwi flavored sauce.
And that is what really sets it apart from all the other like bread places, I feel like.
I tried to make, actually I should say, my wife tried to make Isaac toast in the US. So she found a recipe for, they use this and this and this. But no, there is no sauce recipe online.
Yeah, you need to buy the sauce, right? The set separately.
I don't even know if they sell it. If they
no,
sell
they
it.
do. Didn't we see a Jolly video where they
sell it.
They made it in the UK by like importing the sauce.
Okay. But yeah, if you have the sauce, you need the sauce to make it. So we didn't have the sauce, so my wife tried to copy it, and it was really good. I'll give her credit, but it wasn't the same thing.
Yeah, it's hard to imitate.
And also, fried chicken is another thing that it's hard to find, like Korean style in the U.S.
Okay, so what's your favorite chicken brand? Fried chicken.
That's a difficult question. I'm not sure if I could pick one. I don't know if you have a favorite one.
Okay. I'd say it's sprinkle from BHC because I love everything that's has to do with cheese, like anything cheese. And then recently, what did I like? Like 교촌 honeycombo.
I've never tried that one.
So that one is a classic. That I didn't like it personally, but it's like the number one favorite. In Korea.
I used to go to Gyeocheon all the time back in I'd say like 2006 or something like that. But a lot of the menu items I knew were more simple than that. It was just like chicken and yangnyeom chicken, and that was pretty much it.
I remember when I first came to Korea, it was either like 후라이드 or yangnyeom or banban, and you didn't really go far from that. But they're getting really creative with it. You should have the jamyeonsari before.
It's gonna all roll.
벌써 불었어요. How do you say 불었어요?
I was just like, I don't know how to say it. I'm just gonna say it in Korean. It's getting bloated.
Do you say noodles get bloated?
No, we don't.
Do you want to give me your 앞접시?
You know what I mean.
Yes.
It's you don't want to leave noodles in the water too long; they get all gross.
Gross.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you had to choose your main carb source between 밥, 빵, 뭐지? 면? 밥, 빵, 면. So rice, 빵, bread, and noodles.
Yeah.
If you had to choose one carb source for the rest of your life.
Rest of my life. Well, I don't know. That's tricky because I think my stomach is still like American, where that if I don't eat regular red carbs in some way, I might still feel hungry. But I don't know. At the same time, if I had to pick one food to eat for the rest of my life, I probably would pick something like fried rice because it's really simple, like maybe like shrimp fried rice or something. So I don't know about that. Maybe I'll say bread, but if I have to pick a food, then rice.
Yeah, I would also go with rice. I prefer bread too, like pizza. Like I need to have pizza once a week. But
Need, yes.
Need
Need to.
I can't go too long without pizza. But yeah, I think it's more comforting for the stomach for me. I think I like rice. If I eat like anything with milgaru, then it doesn't feel it makes me feel very heavy.
Yeah, I can do that. Kind of like makes you feel like bloated or
Maybe
something.
it's a
Like
gluten thing. We should finish these noodles first.
they're gonna melt. They're like just gonna dissolve into the soup.
Yeah, 분명히 넣을 땐 하나였는데 지금.
Now it looks like so much.
I know. Okay, so for the past few weeks that you've been here, after quarantine, you've done a lot of collab videos. Do you wanna like give us any sneak peeks or hints as to what we can expect from you?
Okay. I'm thinking. So I put a piece of meat in my mouth while I'm thinking. I already talked about this just yesterday, actually, on Talk to Me in Korean. We did like a live stream, and I did a video with Kanu together, where we talk about. How to. It's kind of like a motivational video for feeling good about how your Korean is. I also did several traveling videos, which I haven't done. This time I traveled up to visit my friend who's in Wonju, which is kind of like, for those of you who don't know, it's kind of like the north side-ish, kind of east-ish of Seoul. And it's a little bit of a countryside area. And so we went there and I filmed a few videos there, like there's some, there's like a wobbly bridge and a few other things to do.
Wobbly bridge.
It's like a bridge that's really long and like shakes while you walk over.
Oh, like the one in Shrek?
Don't do that!
Yes, but it won't collapse. Or like the one in Indiana Jones, like that sort of thing. And we did, let's see, I tried doing longboarding, so I have a video about like doing longboarding and like people who do that in Korea. Visited the Han River. I did a video like biking around there. Yeah, and then a bunch of other regular interviews as well about various topics like, learning Korean and tips for this and that. So yeah, I can't share everything because I don't want to spoil it all, but that's pretty much.
You really made the most of your time.
So far, yeah, this is going to be actually, I'm not sure exactly when this will be uploaded, but I have about a week more left in Korea to do filming, and then I have to go back to the US for another few months.
So another question I wanted to ask you is, you have a series of 3 books.
Yes.
Right? And then you also have a bunch of video series on your channel. Like you have the beginner series.
Yeah.
So so I see this question on Reddit a lot, where people say, I bought the Korean Made Easy.
Korean Made Simple.
Simple,
Yeah,
sorry.
Same thing.
Same thing. No.
I'm offended. How dare you? I think there actually is a different book series called Korean Made Easy.
Okay.
I've never seen it before, but I've heard the name before.
All right, so it's a Korean Made Simple.
Yeah.
And then how would you recommend people use your books?
Well, I mean, I say this in the preface of the book as well, but no one's going to get fluent in Korean from reading a book. And I actually say that in all 3 books. So even if you finish all 3, it doesn't mean you're going to be fluent. So I always recommend the most important thing is like using what it is that you're learning. So I think something like getting a pen pal right away, having someone you can practice with right away is important for learning the grammar. And that alone, of course, is not going to make you good at the language. Otherwise, I think what happens is many people kind of, like they'll read a lesson or 2 and they think, oh, I finished the lesson, I made a sentence, so therefore I've got it now, and they move on, but really because they're not actively trying to use Korean regularly, after a few weeks they'll forget what they've learned. And later when they get to like more advanced levels, they'll be like, wait, what does this thing mean over here? And it turns out to be something very basic that they actually learned, twice already, and they should already know. And then they develop holes in their learning that are, random, and you don't know what it is that they're missing. And then that's when they usually come to me and say, like, I feel, I've learning Korean for this long and I can't get any better. And you find out like they're missing a lot of stuff that they should have known. So yeah, I would just say make sure that you're practicing it, that you have someone you can use it with. So if you're learning like a grammar form, then instead of just, taking some notes and being like, okay, well now I'm doing this the next day. No, like stopping for a bit, trying to make some sentences with it, trying to make some real world sentences to your language partner, whoever, actually using that form. That way you kind of internalize it, so you feel like, oh, this is useful, instead of just like, now I've, stamped, I finished it. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay, so this is probably, you've done all of this, which is why you are
That's
at
the
your
stuff
level,
that
right?
I've done. Yeah,
So,
I've also made the mistakes as well, so that's like, I'm kind of like, nah, don't do what I did. Don't do this sort of stuff. I should ask you then, what would you say the best way to learn Korean is? What would you recommend if someone asks you? Like, I get this question a lot. I'm curious what you say if someone asks you, what do you think is the best, just in general, what's the best way to learn Korean? How should I be learning the Korean language? Should I buy lots of books? Should I just go watch lots of dramas? Should I just, make lots of Korean friends or a combination of those? What would you say?
Yeah, for me, I can't speak from experience like you because I haven't started. I didn't learn Korean from scratch. So I came to Korea when I was 12, and I had that that 교포 level of speaking. So I could understand basic sentences that my mom would say, but I couldn't make sentences of my own. And I grew up listening to Korean, so my pronunciation was good. It's just that I had the vocabulary of a 5-year-old. And I didn't know any grammar. But then for me, it was easy for me to pick it up because I was only 12, and just being around Korean kids.
Just like living in Korea.
Yeah, living in Korea. So I guess for me, immersion was what helped me the most, and also my young age. So start as early as possible.
Yeah.
Start when you're young.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
there's like some 80-year-old people. Damn it! Watching this video.
Too late. But no, it's never too late. It is never too late. And I think just a little bit of everything. So I don't think you can learn Korean without any books. But then at the same time, you can't, get.
You're talking about, of course, someone who's older than 12, or
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you can't just pick it up naturally as a child, if you're starting as an adult, obviously you're going to have to, start with a book or some sort of course or whatever. But I think you should also definitely supplement your material with, real listening. I know my husband Nick, he's also pretty fluent in Korean, and he's obsessed with Running Man. So we were talking about this, so the variety shows, those are especially good for conversation, especially because they have like the Korean subtitles. So you can read what they're saying at the same time. And also I think the good thing about variety shows is that they also put in subtitles like the emotion or like the
extra things that they didn't even say.
They illustrate the scene using like Korean words. So I think that also like helps with the vocabulary as well. So for listening, I think finding like a variety of sources that you enjoy personally. If you don't like Korean dramas, like me,
I recommend variety shows as well. I also don't like Korean
I was going
dramas.
to ask you too. As someone who doesn't like Korean media, like dramas, not even movies, you don't like Korean movies.
I actually don't like Korean movies.
So what other resources would you...
Yeah, I would say variety shows. And the thing is, I don't actually watch variety shows either.
No.
But I would highly recommend variety shows over anything else. Not just because I'm not a fan of, dramas and movies so much, but because variety shows are a lot more helpful. Like, you're not going to get real Korean dialogue from a drama or a movie. It's like, the writer spent a lot of time scripting it to be as condensed, and, no one talks like that in real life.
Exactly. Like, Korean dramas, like, they bug me so much. Like, just the other day, I started Voice. Did we talk about Voice before?
I saw Voice, the first one.
Yeah, so I watched the first 2 episodes of Voice, and I had to stop halfway through the second episode because the way she talks.
Oh yeah, it's like so
fake.
So perfectly scripted.
Yeah.
Like in real life, someone would be like, "Yes, 911, what's your emergency? Oh, where are you? Oh yeah, sure, no problem, we'll be over there right away." But in the drama, it's like, "This is Detective Smith with the 911. What is it that I can assist you with? Oh no, stay right where you are. The criminal knows exactly your locations. Please forward us your GPS coordinates before." It's like, no one talks like that.
It's either that or they're way too calm when it's like life or death emergency.
Yeah, especially Ihana, her face.
Yeah, and she whispers everything. She's supposed to be on the line to like walkie-talkie people, and she's like, "거기 아니에요."
Yeah. That's good.
So annoying.
Yeah. That's true. Well, I mean, you got to think though. She's sensitive to voices. Maybe she has to whisper so it doesn't like hurt her own ears.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, so. Variety shows are good, and then actually what I do instead is I actually follow some, I guess, YouTubers who just kind of talk normally. So similar concept as variety shows, though. You just get regular people talking instead of something scripted.
So, do you have any favorite YouTubers? Korean YouTubers?
Not that I would recommend for beginner. These are like resources that I use as someone who already speaks Korean decently. For beginners, I might recommend, I guess if you're looking for YouTube, I would just try to find something that you're already interested in. So like if you like, I don't know, you like animals, then you know there's going to be YouTubers who are raising dogs or raising animals or something like that. If you're into gardening, there's plenty of gardening YouTubers. Fishing, you know, anything that you like to do, exercise these days is pretty big. There are going to be plenty of YouTubers who do whatever it is you're interested in. Just try to find some that speak Korean. So search for whatever it is that you like, your hobby in Korean, and there's going to be plenty of stuff. But I wouldn't recommend anyone specifically because the ones I like, I don't watch them specifically for their Korean as much as I just like watching them.
Content. Yeah. Also, and if you like Korean celebrities, a lot of Korean celebrities also have their own YouTube channel. So if you're following someone like, you know, an actress or a model or even all the Running Man like members, they have their own channel, I think.
Yeah, a lot of them do.
Yeah, so. Okay, so one last question, and I think we'll stop here and I'll let you eat. Last question is, when was the moment that you felt like I'm fluent?
I mean, I felt like I'm pretty fluent several times, but then later looking back, realized like, oh, I could have learned a lot more. Like, I guess it's depending on what situation you're talking about. Like, fluency to have a regular day-to-day conversation. I guess I felt that after like, you know, a year and a half or so of being in Korea. But obviously at that level, I wouldn't be able to talk about much beyond like, you know, saying hi to friends, asking what they're doing, interacting regularly. But then, you know, there's the next level, like, well, how can you, what about talking about things that are related to work? You know, or what about talking about, you know, things related to, you know, me doing YouTube, or talking about hobbies that you have. You know, if you could go to a doctor's office and successfully make an appointment and then talk with the doctor, that's something I had to do a few years ago when I got surgery in Korea. So it's like, it depends on what, I guess, level of fluency or what sort of fluency you're talking about. But still today, if I were to have to watch, like turn on a medical drama or something, I wouldn't really be able to follow, other than, you know, I know that they're talking about this thing or this problem, but they would use terms I've never heard. You know, they might say like...
but I think that goes for Koreans as well.
Yeah, so it really depends on what we're talking about. You know, if it's something that I'm familiar with, then sure, I guess. But
what kind of surgery did you have in Korea?
I had to get sinusitis surgery, actually. 충농증.
Oh, really? In Korea?
Yeah, you didn't know the English name. You're like, oh, 충농증. Yeah, it's actually quite common in Korea that people know it. I don't think it's a common English term, though. Yeah, so I got it in Korea. I started having problems with my sinuses, and I thought I just had like bad allergies and a bad flu. This was like 2018. But the doctor like looked into my nose for like half a second. He immediately is like, you have complete, you know, full chronic sinusitis. He's like, this is the worst I've seen in a long time. He's like, you must have been suffering with this for at least 5 years, he said to me. And I'm like, I guess you're right, but I didn't even realize it until like now. And so he said, you know, you could do surgery. So I opted to do surgery while I was in Korea. I figured it'd be cheaper, and I was correct. It was much cheaper than if I did in the US. So I was in the hospital for just a few days. Surgery was 2 hours. When I did that though, it was all in Korean. I thought it would be in English because when I first talked with them, the person who saw me, like one of the assistant nurses, was trying her best to use English to me. I didn't tell her I needed English, but she was just using English. So I thought, oh, they're all going to use English. That was it. All of them used straight Korean. They didn't like filter it down for me. I remember the doctor's like, you know, gross, but you know, he's like sticking this sharp thing up my nose and pulling out like, I guess it was cartilage pieces, and it hurt really bad. And the whole time he's just like talking really fast in Korean. He's like, okay, so I'm gonna put this up here. So okay, it's little hurt you a little bit. I'm gonna numb it a little bit with this. Okay, wait, hold this. Okay, bite down. Don't do anything right now. Hold on for 10 seconds. Okay, and then talking to the nurses like, I need you to get this and this and this. And I'm like the whole time just like listening to that. Oh, I'm so glad I can follow what he's saying. Because like I don't want to mess anything up right now.
That's true. If you don't know what's going on, I guess that would really.
Like I remember waking up from the surgery, so they had to put me under for it. And when I was waking up, immediately they're of course speaking Korean again, and of course my brain's like you know, but I could follow them, so I was just really happy at that moment. Like, okay, at least I'm glad I could speak Korean. This would not be pleasurable if it was like I had to say everything in English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we will stop our mukbang today.
Okay. Well, we're still eating. So
we are still eating.
We're gonna keep eating after.
Yes, we will finish the rest of our meal without talking to the camera. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. This will probably be up by tomorrow.
Nice. I'll watch it
go check out Billy's channel. I also last thing, I suggested this kind of format so that we could connect on a more personal level instead of just like, Korean teacher. It's kind of like having a chat with us. But if you also, I really enjoyed your How Korean Changed My Life video.
Oh, that was I think that was also 2018 that I filmed that one.
Yeah, so I think, normally he has like a Billy, as like a persona, like a cheery.
Well, it's me in a good mood.
Right, right.
Yeah.
He has like that happy, cheery one, but that video is it's like a lot more, it's like, it seems a bit more authentic.
I guess
like
so.
You, right?
Yeah, it was like more, cause I guess it would be hard for me to be cheery when I'm like explaining like I guess my life story. Of, like,
yeah, so if you
learning
want
Korean.
to learn about his life story, I recommend you watch that video. And yes, so yeah, we'll end it here. Thank you for watching. 다음 영상에서 만나요.
그럼 다음에 또 봐.